today's session, what we are going to do is we are going to do a recent exam question, which examiner with ACCA examined in 2025, December 2025. Why I chose that question? Because there are few points which are important in that, right? So I'm sure you must have done till balance scorecard. I mean, you know what is balance scorecard. I'm assuming that you know balance scorecard. Uh, am I right or am I not? Because if you are done with balance scorecard, then I will just do a quick recap. Otherwise, I will explain what is balance scorecard and then move to the question. Um, can you please respond, Sarah? You can write in the chat box. Okay, so I'm assuming that you have done with the balance scorecard. I'm just quickly going through all the four perspective. So we have financial perspective, right? Financial perspective is something which we believe that is important for the organization. But financial perspective is generally connected with the other perspective as per balance scorecard. Those perspective are customer perspective. Customer perspective believe that whatever company financial perspective is driven by customer perspective. If your customer thinks good about the company, then it's good. You can continue. I mean, your performance can improve. If customer believe that the company is not performing well, customers are not satisfied, customers are not, customer don't trust your product. In that case, even if current financial perspective is good, you cannot expect a good financial performance in future, right? And then customer perspective is generally driven by internal business perspective and learning and innovation. Internal business perspective means how efficiently the company is processing its product, right? Its processes. It generally starts with quality of service, that the quality of service we see whether the quality of service is good or not. If the quality of service is good, customer perspective will automatically improve. You don't need to improve it. If resource utilization is good, resource utilization and quality of service has a strange connection. Unfortunately, if your quality of service is too high, it may impair the quality of services which are provided by the company, because you are instead of making 10 units in an hour, probably you are manufacturing 15 units in an hour. So obviously quality of service may get hampered, right? And then flexibility is important, how efficiently you are dealing up with the requirement of customers, and then the speed of delivery. The speedy delivery will lead to higher customer satisfaction. So these are few perspectives, some internal business perspectives which may improve customer overall perspective, overall experience, right? Then in learning and innovation, it's important for an organization. If an organization is affected by, if an industry is affected by innovation, it's extremely important for the company to continuously innovate, to continuously launch some new features, something new, something good for the customer, so that customers still get excited whenever they come to the company's product. So because they know that the company must be offering something different. It With learning perspective, these are two KPIs which we generally attach with learning perspective. And these two perspectives are generally something which we attach with innovation, that your product, you should be innovative and you should generate sales from your innovative product. If you are not generating sales from your innovative products, that means you are innovating, but your product is not a success. Your innovative products, your new products are actually moving towards failure, right? Not failure exactly, it's a very negative word, but your innovative product are not as successful as probably other companies innovative products are, right? So in collectively, all these products, all these two dimensions will improve customer satisfaction. Customer satisfaction will ultimately lead to financial perspective, which is again important area for the company. Now, recently, ACCA examiner has examined a question which was related to balanced scorecard. Let's see what we can do here. Okay. So this is a question which has been recently examined, right? The first requirement was quite simple. The first, just a second, let me mute. The lab. Just a second. Okay. So the first requirement says that using the template provide, calculate the performance measures for the year 30th June 20x5 and the prior year figures for the year to 30th June 20x4. So the question is asking you to calculate the performance measures, right? This is basically the requirement. I hope, yeah. So this is basically the requirement by the company, by the examiner, right? And then if you go to this part, there are 5 areas which you need to calculate: operating profit in millions, right? Market share you have, sorry, market share is not in the original question. Okay. So you have to calculate operating profit, you have to calculate market share, you have to calculate percentage of manufactured machines with defects, you have to calculate average output, you have to calculate eco 10 machines, right? So there are 5 figures which you have to calculate, and that is for 5 marks. So that perfectly means 1 mark per calculation, right? And in the next requirement, because it's important for you to see what are the requirements. So the second requirement says that using the performance measures given in Clen company's balance scorecard and your calculation from part A, analyze Clen performance for the year to 30th June 20x5. So this is the second requirement. You have to make a performance analysis. So there are 2 major requirements. First requirement is to calculate few figures, and the second requirement is to make a performance analysis, right? So you have to read this question with a perspective that you have to analyze performance of the company. That's the most important thing, right? So let's start with a question. Let's see what we can do here. Clen company manufactures industrial washing machines used by hotel across the world, right? So it means that probably its customer are global customers, right? It is based in the country of D-land but has manufacturing plants in the number of countries. So this is making you sure that the company is a multinational company. It's working in multiple areas, multiple countries. Clen company's goal. Now, goal is extremely important because now ACCA, now in PM, ACCA examiner has started giving you long-term objective or goal of company. So whatever you are writing should be in line, may be connected to whatever the company's objective is. So Clen company goal is to be the global industrial washing machine manufacturer, right? Now, the first thing, generating values for customers, second, and shareholders, third, through a commitment to quality, innovation, and respect for the planet. So you must read this part again in order to understand better what they actually wanted to do. They want to become global washing machine manufacturer, right? Leading global industrial washing machine manufacturer. That means market share is extremely important for them. Generating value for the customer. That means customer feedback is extremely important for them. And of course, if you want to become industrial leading manufacturer, customers are an important stakeholder. And shareholder. Of course, shareholders are important, and how they want to do all these things. They want to become the leading manufacturer, generate value for the customer and shareholders through commitment by commit through a commitment to the quality. That means you cannot compromise on quality. Innovation, you continuously have to innovate. Respect for the planet, you have to focus on sustainability products which are going to save the environment, have a positive impact on climate and all those things which we are currently seeing, right? So this is basically what the company wanted to do. In 2005, the global economy suffered a severe downturn and sales of new machines fell significantly. Now, this may be a very important part, very important piece of information, because if the economy is has declined, and if there is a decline in economy, of course my company sales will also get hampered, right? So I cannot say that my performance was bad. The performance was bad because the economy was suffering as a whole, right? So this line is extremely important. However, Clen Company CEO is confident that the company reputation for quality and its commitment to embracing new technologies will help it strengthen its competitive and market position as the global economy recovers from the downturn. So they have a very strong feeling that because they are committed, because they have new technologies, because their quality, they are providing a quality product, they can deal with this with the global with the demand once this global economy get back to its normal situation, right? Clean Company's commitment to technology is evident both in manufacturing process, which is highly automated, and also in the designing of machines. Now, think for a while what they are trying to communicate. Clean Company's commitment to technology is evident in both manufacturing process. That means they are manufacturing, their manufacturing plant, their manufacturing facility is quite innovative, which they are saying is highly automated. And also the design of machine. Whatever machines they are producing, it's extremely innovative. It's good in design. It may be some environmental friendly. It may be energy saving or maybe something, but they are producing a good and innovative machinery. It has been a market leader in the development of most energy efficient machines, with its Eco 10 range of machine being the most energy efficient machines available in the market. So that means the question is trying to highlight that the company was an extremely successful company, is focusing on quality, innovation, and in all these things. Clean Company's board uses a balanced scorecard to measure the company's performance with the following objectives. Financial perspective is measured by the objective of financial perspective is sustainable growth. That means you should have a revenue growth, maintain profitability, operating profit percentage. Technically, we calculate operating profit percentage in such cases, but here their balance scorecard is operating profit in millions. So if someone wants you to evaluate that whether this performance balance scorecard needs any improvement, so probably we can recommend that it should be operating profit percentage rather than operating profit in millions. But again, we are not supposed to recommend any changes, so we can continue with this. Customer strength and market position, and customer perspective is measured by strengthening market position, calculated by market share. You want to delight the customers, percentage of customer who recommend Clean Company. Internal business process, reduce machine downtime, which is downtime hours, right? Reduce defect rate, percentage of manufacture machines with defects. Increase productivity measured by average output per employee. Promote innovation, Eco 10 machines as a percentage of machine produced. So they have given you their own balanced scorecard, right? Now, what they want, I hope I'm recording. Yes. Okay. So what they want you to do is now the next part is performance information, summary performance information for Clean Company for the years to 30th June 20x5 and 30th June 20x4 is shown below. Revenue is given. Revenue, you have to see point number one. Note number one, if you see, first just checked in 2004, the revenue was 117, 2005, the revenue was 107, and revenue reduced by 9.1%, right? Is there any problem with this? Your objective was to have a revenue growth, right? But revenue fell by 9.1%, right? Then they are saying total global revenue from machine sales. This is for point number one. Total global revenue from new machine sales in the year to 30th June 20x5 was 1,600,134 million. The corresponding figures for year to 30th June 20x4 was 1,815,308 million, right? So if you can see, last year it was 1,815. This year sales, overall global sales volume was 1.6 million. So overall globally, there is a reduction in sales, right? And that is because, of course, what they have said initially, that overall there was a significant global economy suffered with a downturn, with sales of new machines fell significantly. So that's basically what is depicting here. Operating cost was 99,000 last year. It was 88,000 this year. So there's a 10.9% reduction in operating cost. Depreciation increased by 6.2%. So this is the financial perspective. Non-financial perspective, average number of employees are given here, 71,200 in 20x4, 61,860 in 20x5. That means currently there has been a massive layoff in employees. Number of employees reduced by 13.1%. Um, Not something which generally be encouraged, because employee layoffs have a different sort of impact on in the economy and to the public as a whole. But let's not go to that side. Machines manufactured by Klein Company was 4249. Now it's 3763, depicting a 11.4% reduction in the manufacturing. So your revenue increased by 9.1%. Your manufacturing reduced by 11.4%, right? Acha, then they are saying machines manufactured by Klein Company, of which traditional machines were 2 million, Eco 10 machines were 1 million. So altogether it's 3 million. So they have provided you with a breakup. And then downtime uh, reduced by 6.3%. You have to go to note number 2. Downtime measures any time when production is stopped, either due to technical failure, maintenance, or unavailability of input. Basically, the idle time issue, right? Then they are saying machines with defects, see note number 3. Machines with defect mean that the number of machines manufactured in the year which have had defects reported to customer within 12 months of buying them. Like for example, if I bought the machinery and on in January, and uh, I face some issue in the month of May, it's basically within a year. So they will mark that machinery as a defected machinery, because of course I will ask company to repair the to fix the issue. Important point is industry figures of both 20x5 and 20x4 shows that on average customer reported defect is 1.33% of new machines within 12 months of buying them, right? So customers are report what industry is having is just 1.33%. We don't know what percentage of defects we have. The figure has remained largely unchanged for a number of years, right? Now, Klein Company's assistant management accountant has started preparing the results for the year to 30th June 20x5, but has not yet calculated all of the figures required for the balance scorecard. Using the template provided, calculate performance measures for the year to 30th June 20x5 and prior year figures for the year to 30th June 20x4, that is for 5 months, right? So let's start with this. Okay, once I gave this question in my class as well, and there was a problem with the students because revenue growth is in percentage. There was a there was a around 20-30% students who calculated operating profit as a percentage of sales, right? It was not the requirement. You have to see the requirement carefully, because this is a very common mistake. Generally, examiner asks for operating profit percentage. Here, it's not the requirement. So whatever is required, you are just supposed to calculate that. Now the question is, which figures revenue is given here, right? Which figure we are supposed to deduct from it? Only operating cost, or operating cost and depreciation both? Now this is a I mean, this is an issue with the students. If you give them two separate figures, they somehow believe that one figure is important and probably one figure is not important, right? If you give them three figures, probably they will consider two, and they will say that, okay, fine, there's maybe one figure which is irrelevant. How is this possible that all the three figures are relevant? It is possible, right? So in calculating accounting profit, we have to deduct all figures, right? So 107209 minus 88669 minus 10390. So this is the accounting profit for the first year. And then 117995 minus 99528 minus 9785. Right? So we got the profit, operating profit, increase or decrease. If you check this, there is a reduction of 532. Why I'm doing this? Because in the next part, we are supposed to calculate all these figures. We have to analyze the performance, right? And then market share percentage. Market share percent is calculated by, we can divide company sales volume with the overall sales volume, or we can divide company sales revenue with the overall revenue, right? That's how we calculate the market share, right? What is given in the question? Revenue is given in the question, right? And the number of machines which they manufactured, that is also given in the question, right? Now, how we will calculate this, it will be decided by what industry figures they gave to us, right? This point, what we should do. because overall industry revenue is given. Total, sorry, total global revenue from new machines is given in the question. We have to consider this revenue instead of the number of machines, right? So that will be 107,209 divided by 2005 figure, which is 1600,1600,134, right? It's 6.7%. Okay, fine. Let me tell you one thing. Generally, it's not in percentage. I was doing this question for another session, so it is like this, but generally, um, okay, let's do it in this part. Same here is equals to 117,995 divided by 1815 and 308. Uh, yeah, 6.5%. I don't know what happened in there. So just need to put a percentage sign in. Don't multiply it with 100. It's not a good idea to multiply by 100 and then putting a percentage sign. It's not a good idea at all, right? So market share increased by 0.02%, right? This minus this. So there is a 0.2% increase, right? Uh, Percentage of manufactured machines with defects, right? So defected machines are this one, 24086, right? With which figure we should divide it with? There are three figures possible. The first figure is total number of machines. The second one is traditional machines. The third one is Eco 10 machine. 24,086 divided by what? Because it's total number of machines, so we should divide it with the total figure, right? So 24086 divided by 3763400, right? So again, you have to make a percentage of it, right? What happened? Yeah, it's 0.64, right? And then 29322 divided by 4249600, right? Again, you have to convert it into percentage, 0.69. Okay. Then average output per employee means you have to consider the output, which is 3763400 and divided by 61860, right? Um, Keep it to two decimal places, right? Is equals to 4249600 divided by 71200. Again, keep it to two decimal places. Okay. Then Eco 10 machines as a percentage of machines produced, right? Eco 10 machines are 171751164. Oh, sorry. 1751164 divided by 3763400. Right. Again, you have to convert it into percentage, right? Then mm, it's 1732, sorry, 1732336 divided by 4249600, right? All right. So we are done with all these five figures and we got all the answers right. So that's the first part done by us, right? Now in the next part, examiner, oops, sorry, I actually did the same question for some other such class. So, oops, sorry, we did for this. I cannot undo this. Okay. Ah, chale. Okay. Uh, we cannot undo this probably. There's no, just forget about it. Okay. Uh, okay. Now, what we have to do is now you using the performance measures given in balance scorecard and your calculations from part A, you have to analyze the performance, right? So the first one is financial perspective, right? The second one which they have given is customer. You can only write financial because we are just trying to match with whatever their balance scorecard is. Internal business process, right? And innovation and learning, right? So these are four perspectives which we made. Now let's start one by one. I'm not going to write the whole answer, but we will try to write the points which we need to cover, because see, there is a 15 marks requirement, and 15 marks may they are saying that a maximum of 3 marks will be given for additional calculations, right? So if you open up the calculator and if you divide this 15 with the four perspectives, it's like 3.75. So you have to write approximately 3 to 4 marks, and of course there will be some calculations involved here. So let's try to do it. So how you will start with financial perspective? See, financial perspective, the first target was to have a revenue growth percentage, right? Do you think company achieved that? No. There was a 9.1 percentage decrease, right? So how we will start this? We will start that the company Glen failed to achieve its what they said, sustainable growth. Sustainable growth objective. Why? Because there is a 9.1% decrease in the revenue, 9.5% decrease in revenue of 20x5, right? Now, this is the first point, right? Now, do you really think it's a problem? We know that the economy was in recession and sales of new products were significantly down. And we have also observed the same thing in the overall sales volume, right? So we need to put this point, because if we are just writing it, examiner will consider us a bad student because we didn't pick what the basic idea was, right? So if you see the global market, global, what was the, how global market reduced, right? There was a reduction in global sales by what percentage? Let's try to calculate that. Mm, this was 1600, 134 divided by 1815308, right? 88% minus 1, 11.85%, right? 11.85%, right? There was a reduction in global sales by 11.85%, right? But what company did? Company sales just reduced by 9.1%. But however, Glen company managed its sales quite well, resulting in increase in market, increase in its market share by what percentage we have calculated in the previous part? 0.2%, right? You can give a reference of a spreadsheet calculated in previous part, right? So this is the second part which we must write because it's important, right? So it's the idea, as we discussed in the sales variance, the idea is the performance of industry performance was quite bad. So that's why my performance was also bad. But I performed relatively less bad as compared with the industry, right? Industry sales fell by 11.85%, but my company sales just went down by 9.1%, which means that we were better than the other competitors, which helped us to increase our market share by 0.2%, right? What else we can write here? Because we are trying to cope up with the financial perspective, we have to focus on operating profits as well, right? If you see operating profit, there was a decline of 532 million in operating profit, right? The first problem is, of course, we are not using percentage. Percentage could have been a better idea, right? So if you if you want to calculate operating profit percentage, I think we can discuss in millions as well. So what about operating cost? As far as operating costs are concerned, do you think they performed well? Yes, 11.9% reduction in operating costs compared with 9.1% reduction in revenue. So revenue, we are talking about sales volume, right? So sales volume fell by 9.1%. My operating cost reduced by 10.9%, which is, I think, 1.1% more than the revenue decrease. 10.9 minus 9.1. It's like 1.8% more, right? So as far as operating costs are concerned, efficiently, as the reduction in operating cost was 1.8% higher than the reduction in sales, depicting cost savings, right? Now the problem is, this is the operating cost excluding depreciation, right? However, depreciation, there was an increase in depreciation, right? Now you have to think, why on in what situation depreciation expense can increase. I mean, one accounting student can say maybe we have changed the depreciation method, but dude, we are not discussing that. We are not discussing accounting here. So the most obvious reason is probably we might have invested because the company was focusing, company said that they are confident in their reputation, innovation, and their market position. They are good in technology. So probably they might have invested in some new technology. So however, increase in depreciation expense is an indicator that Clen company made has made some new investment, resulting increase in depreciation. Um, since the company is now we are trying to connect it with the mission statement, right? Since the company is committed to committed in providing committed to providing quality products, this new investment can have a term long term benefits. Now, if we are writing if we are writing this much, that means we are approximately, don't worry about this English, it doesn't make any impact unless and until you are writing extremely bad. It's fine. So we have covered, so we have identified that they failed to achieve the target, 1 mark, right? We identified that global sales reduction and our market share increase, that is 1 mark, right? As far as operating cost and commit and increase in depreciation, so that is 2 marks, right? And then 1 mark for this 11.85 percentage, because they are saying that 1 mark per calculation. So probably we are done with 4 to 5 marks, quite easy 4 to 5 marks, right? Now, what about customer perspective? Customer perspective says that strengthen market position by using the market share, delight customer as a percentage, right? So do you think we have increased, there was an increase in market share? Yes, market share increased by 0.2%, right? So there has been increase. I'm not writing the whole paragraph now. There was increase in market share by 0.2%. Now, what this depicts, that's most important thing. You cannot just write that there was an increase in market share. What this means to the company? This means that company maintained, or you can write improved, its customer base by acquiring new customers and retaining. Or if you don't want to go to this deeper, company improved its customer base as gain in market share, competitive of company. This is in this means that company um, company is uh, leading towards its objective of becoming a market leader by performing well, or you can say by acquiring customers, acquiring customers well in a what you can say in a recession market, or maybe in a mm, recession period, right? This is the first point which we can write, right? Now, what else we have in customer perspective? Percentage of customers who recommended Clen company, right? So there, so the percentage of customer who recommended Clen company increased by 5.4%, right? Is it a good thing or a bad thing? It's a good thing, right? So recommendation from customers also increased by what percentage? 5.4%. 5.4%, depicting that customers are now, that depicting that more customers are now satisfied from the company's product, right? You can write, instead of writing company's product, you can write clan machines, right? It will make more relevant to the scenario. Now, is this the only thing which we can write? Sometimes we hide important information by portraying that the company is performing well, right? You are saying that 59% customers have recommended this time. Previous year it was just 56%. So hey, look, we have 5.4%. There was a 5.4% increase in the customer recommendation. Makes sense. It's good performance. But what? Still 41% customers are not recommending company's product. That's the part which we should focus on, right? However, this is another point. Should be written in the same paragraph. However, it is important to note that 41% customers are still not recommending cleanse machines. So a problem, so what we can suggest is problem needs to be identified and fixed. How this matters to the company? It will improve the market share further. It will further improve the market share, right? Or it will further help the company to become the global provider of washing machines, right? So we have identified two perspectives here, right? The first one is this increase in market share, right? The second point is this recommendation, right? Because we have identified two areas here, this is the first point that yes, the company is performing well, right? But the second is that we are trying to shift your focus from a good part to the bad part. It will give you 2 marks, right? So that means this part will easily give you 3 marks, right? Easily 3 marks, right? What about the internal business perspective? You can write it in your own words because you have to write it in your own word. But what the points you need to focus on, because see, this is the kind of question where students can easily move forward. Like this is a good performance because people are recommending the products, recommendation has improved, right? Customers market share has increased and recommendation has improved. Wow, what a good performance. No, dude, you have to identify something even if it's there's slight improvement you think can matter, you should highlight it, right? Because the company is not considering this, so you have to identify as a performance measurement expert, right? Now, what about internal business perspective? There are two areas: reduce machine downtime, right? The idle time, and machine defects, right? What happened in the system downtime? Downtime reduced by 6.3%, which, and how this is important, why this is important, how this will impact the company. You cannot just only write that machine downtime was 6.3%, which shows the company performed well. And what is the next part? What is the next area? And defects rate reduced by this much percentage, so that means company performed well. No, you will not gain marks for this, right? So company reduced 6.3% downtime, which means that there is less idle time, and now company can produce more output, leading to less delivery time. That's basically a complete picture that what company improved and how it's going to impact the performance of company, right? Then the second part is defected rate, right? Defect rate was what? Mm, Defect rate also reduced by 0.05%, which is good, right? Defects rates reduced by 0.05%, and now it's just 0.64%, right, of the total machines manufactured by Klen, right? It's a good part, right? Do you think we need to write anything else? Think what the company is offering. Company is saying that hey, we are committed to provide you a quality product. So even because you are claiming a quality company, you are claiming that we are providing you the best quality product, this 0.64% is still a painful thing. You need to identify that why you are still unable to produce 100% perfect products, right? There is a concept which you guys will study in future paper, which is called Six Sigma. That means you have to make, you can only make 3 defects out of 1 million units which you are producing. That's the best quality, highest quality of the production process, right? So, however, since the company claims to provide the best, the quality product, quality machines, not the product, machines to public. Even this 0.64% needs to be identified and fixed in order to improve customer recommendation. Right? So you cannot just say that, okay, fine. If you are saying that 0.64% is fine, that means you are making, you are getting into a comfortable zone that yes, we are performing well. And you don't need to improve in this regard. No, you have to improve, right? So one obvious mark for this, and two marks for this, because we have said that yes, it's fine, but we have identified another point, right? So we can easily say 3 marks for this type of writing, like identified a critical point here, right? And the last one is innovation and learning, right? This is the last part, right? How can you say innovation and learning? Innovation and learning was with respect to average output per employee, right? Now just see average output per employee. Has it improved? This minus this. 1.13 improvement, right? So average output per employee improves this period, depicting a better resource utilization by the company. Again, you need to see if there is anything which we can write apart from this point. How we manage this, because the sales reduced. That is a natural phenomenon because overall global recession was there. What we did, we laid off 13.1% of our employees. What is the risk in it? What will happen? What the company will do when this economy will recover? What company will do in that case? That's a problem, right? How company did this? Klen managed this ratio, or you can say improve this ratio by um, laying off 13.1% employees, which is um, higher than the reduction in manufacturing, raising a concern that how the company will manage to produce when produce to meet the demand when economy will get back to its normal position, right? That's the most important point. If you want to add one more point, you can add that it may be because of the innovation, right? If this is because of innovation, that makes sense because now you don't need more employees, right? If this is due to innovation, it mm, for innovation in the sense automation. If this is due to automation is a better word. Meeting demand will not be a problem for company. We can adjust this line somewhere here. Okay, we can, however, we can write however to, however is a very useful verb. Um, okay. However, if this reduction is due to automation, meeting demand will not be a for a company, for the company in future, right? Now, so this makes sense now because we have also already also highlighted that because this is not given why they laid off, right? So this information needs to be addressed now. What else? Eco 10 machinery sales, right? Eco 10 machinery, let's try to highlight this. This minus this. 5.77% increase. It's good, right? Mm, okay. There has been an increase in Eco 10 machines produced by company as a percentage of its total production, right? And now we need to connect it with a scenario which depicts its mm, promise of being what they said, respectful to the planet, right? Again, you need to identify if you can hide, if you can write anything else, because see, let's me because my face is not visible. I'm not sure how to tell you this, but let's suppose that let me try to highlight it. Initially, you were producing 15% of your total output, right? But overall, other companies are now producing more and more and more product. Now, just compare it with Tesla, probably, right? Tesla is producing a certain, let's suppose Tesla is producing more and more product, but the other Chinese companies are producing even more products, right? So global percentage will reduce. So they need to see if they are capturing, if they are getting a good market share of Eco 10 machine globally, because that is also something which is important. It's not just how much they are producing with respect to the overall production. It's equally important for them to capture the global market share of eco-friendly machines, right? So again, however comes in, vital to calculate the market share of eco 10 machines in globally to the to its close competitor, right? Or you can write, if you don't want to write market share, you can write the performance also, performance or market share, anything, right? So the problem is what in this type of calculation, this type of questions, what students generally write, students generally write what is given here. They don't focus on what a student can further write. So instead of 15 marks, they generally end up in getting 7 to 8 marks. And with a student perspective, they have done really well because they know that the question was very easy. They know that they really wrote well, but they somehow they can miss some very important details which are important, and examiners want you guys to identify those points because those points are extremely important, right? So that's why I thought that to do this question, because it's very easy, students take it very students take these type of questions for granted. They say, this is a very simple question, I can easily do this, and then they lose marks. And then they say that I don't know what happened in my paper. I did my paper perfectly, but I don't know where they deduct my mark and I got 49 marks. This is the reason. These are some reasons why you fail to secure 100% marks. Like in performance measurement, you may get 100%, 20%, 20 marks out of 20 marks. but you end up in getting 12, 11, 12 marks, 5 marks for previous requirement, and maybe 7, 8 marks for this requirement, right? Because everyone will, all the students will write about what is given here. There are few students who will write these however point, these how many however we use. Just let's try to identify. This is the first however we use. This is the second however we use. These howevers are important. Mm, this is the third however we use. This is the fourth however we use. And probably this is the fifth however we use. So these are five exceptions which we are highlighted in this questions, in this question, and that will give examiner a good impression of you, right? So that's the end of today's session. I hope you understood what I wrote here, and if you have any comments, you can uh, send me on a personal message or in the group. All right, take care, have a nice weekend. Bye bye.